In this video, we're going to look at converting between mixed numbers and improper fractions. A fraction is a way to express a part of a whole. And as you know, it has two numbers. A top number called the numerator that tells you how many pieces you have, and a bottom number called the denominator that tells you how many pieces it takes to make the whole thing. For example, it takes 20 nickels to make $1. Suppose we have 3 nickels. Then the fraction that represents how many nickels we have is 3/20ths of $1. So because it takes 20 to make the whole thing, but we only have 3. So 3/20ths. So 3/20ths is what we call a proper fraction because the top number is smaller than the bottom number. But a mixed number is a combination of a whole number plus a fraction. And so therefore a mixed number necessarily must be greater than 1 because the whole number itself is at least 1, and then you add a fraction to that, you get something bigger than 1. And an improper fraction is a fraction that has a top number that is larger than the bottom number. So if you have more pieces than it takes to make the whole thing, if the top number is larger than the bottom, that's what's called an improper fraction. And there's nothing wrong with having an improper fraction. It's just that improper fractions are difficult to visualize. And so we usually think in mixed numbers instead of improper fractions. So they're both greater than 1, and any number that's bigger than 1 can be written as either a mixed number or an improper fraction. The two are interchangeable. So why do we have to learn both? Well, it's easier to relate to mixed numbers, but it's easier to do math with improper fractions. We can pretty easily visualize, say, 2½ or 4 1/3. It's easy to see in your head how much that represents. But those kinds of numbers, mixed numbers, are hard to use when you're calculating. There are a lot more steps when you're adding or subtracting or multiplying. So it's just easier to do arithmetic with improper fractions, and that's why we need to learn both. So let's start out by converting 3 4/5 to an improper fraction. Now, 3 is the whole number, and 4/5 is the fraction. So whatever this represents, whether it's pizzas or boxes of pencils or whatever, we've got 3 whole ones and 4/5 of another one. Now if I take these 3 whole ones and make them into fifths as well, then we would have 3 things that have been cut into 5 pieces each, plus 4 additional pieces. In other words, those 3 whole things cut into 5 pieces each would give us 15/5, plus the 4/5 makes 19/5 overall. Now this is not the way you want to do this all the time, although it's a good way to visualize and get started. But look where the 19 came from. Really what we can do is we can say the bottom times the whole number. So 5 times 3 makes 15. And then you add these extra pieces on top. So 15 and 4 make 19. So we multiply bottom times whole. And then we add that number plus what's on top. And the bottom number always stays the same. So whatever's on the bottom here is still on the bottom when you finish. So now let's do a little practice. Let's convert each mixed number to an improper fraction. And I've put 4 of them here for us. So we'll just practice them one at a time. So remember, we multiply the bottom times the whole, and then we add what's on top to that. So this one, 7 times 1 is 7, and that 7 plus 2 equals 9. And then the bottom number always stays the same. Okay, on the next one, 2 3/8, multiply bottom number times whole number. 2 times 8 is 16. That 16 plus 3 is 19. And the bottom number stays the same. Okay, multiply 4 times 6 is 24. And that 24 plus 1 is 25. And the bottom number stays the same. And here, multiply 7 times 4 is 28. And then add the top number. 28 plus 3 is 31. And the bottom number stays the same. This is not hard while you're doing it. It's very easy. But the problem I see students run into is that they do it for a little while and then they say, oh, that's easy, and they don't practice it, and therefore they forget how to do it. So you have to either understand what you're doing really well, or you have to keep doing it until that understanding finally kicks in. Because if you look at it once now and it's easy and you don't think about it anymore for the next few days, in a few days you will have lost what you just learned. So you really have to keep ingraining it and keep working on it to keep it fresh so you can do it on a test. So now we need to talk about how to convert the other way. We need to go from an improper fraction to a mixed number. And for this, all we're going to do is divide. So here is 37 fifths. But another way to think of 37 fifths or any fraction is to say top number divided by bottom number. So this is not only 37 fifths, but it's also 37 divided by 5. They mean exactly the same thing. So if you just know that this line represents division, you'll always remember how to do this. And we just set up the division problem. The top number always goes inside the box, and the bottom number always goes outside. And we say 5 will go into 37 7 times with 2 left over. And so this 7 is the whole number because it goes in 7 whole times, and the 2 is the pieces that are left over. So pieces make you think of fractions, and so this is the top of the fraction and this is the bottom, because remember, just like the other time, the bottom always stays the same. So we get 7 2/5, the whole number and the fraction. Okay, so now we're going to practice a few of these. Here they are. So let's practice changing 51 fourths into a mixed number. So we could say 4 will go into 51. Well, 4 will go into 5 one time with 1 left over. Pull down the other one. 4 will go into 11 twice with 3 left over. So it's 12 3/4. 12 3/4. Okay, now we're about to look at 43/9. So let's say 9 will go into 43 4 times with 7 left over. So this becomes 4, see, whole number, and 7/9. Okay, for this one we've got 56 thirds. So we're going to convert and we're going to divide 56 divided by 3. So I'd say 3 goes into 5 once with 2 left over. Pull down the 6. 3 goes into 26 8 times with 2 left over. So we get 18 2/3. And one more, 26 sevenths. So we could say 7 goes into 26 3 times. And since 7 times 3 is 21, 7 goes into 26 3 times with 5 left over. So once you learn what you're doing, it's okay with me if you don't do the long division. Do the long division if it's helpful to you. But if you can look at this and say, well, 7 will go into 26 3 whole times, and there would be 5 left over, then it's fine with me if you just go straight to the final answer. In fact, I think that would be great for you.